Trump says U.S. agree on Iran request to continue talks, but since that's over. What's up, everybody? It's my guy Chu here. Today's this World Sport 2031. And today we're gonna talk about Dream News today. Dream News. And yeah. We're back for more war news today. Yeah. Sure. And we're going to talk about Trump says U.S. reach a request to continue talks, but this side is over. Dated traffic through the Straits of Hormuz appeared to have lowered Friday, after the series of attacks stoked concerns about the recovery of global oil's rising shipping. By Reuters and the Associated Press, U.S. President Donald Trump said on Friday that Iran has to continue talks and U.S. agreed, but that the ceasefire was over. His comments came after three Qatari and Saudi commercial tankers came under fire this week, prompting the U.S. to hit the Iranian sites. Iran responded with strikes in U.S. military installations in neighboring Gulf states on Thursday. The Islamic Republic of Iran has access to continue talks. We have agreed to do so, but the United States has stated them. In other states, the ceasefire is over. He were in a true social post. Qatari negotiators were meeting officials in Iran on Friday to seek de-escalate tensions after Iran and US exchanged fire to discuss navigation through the Strait of Hormuz, a source with knowledge of the situation to Reuters. They take a drive to the Turco waterway appear to have slowed already after the series of attacks to concerns about the discovery of global oil's rise in shipping, and highlighted the tragedy of interim Jews. Thus, Iran aimed to translate limitation of West Iran by majority of understanding and the uses that trigger the recent escalation between Western terrain, including disputes over the navigation to the trade, the source said. Iran said some officials testing then news said agency said a quarter the allegation with the Iran and one analyst says to be effort by Doha to consolidate its role as a mediator. The false contrary accusations against Iran for allegation is then in the street. Oil price is already remaining on track for weekly gains of 5% after the clear up. Meanwhile, late air strikes that hit Iran after the West States finishes attacks have again raised questions what may be targeting the Islamic Republic. The structures say suicide was repaired by Jabardari Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He across southern Iran, the conspiracy has directly claimed anyone. The lawmaker wanted to run every Emirates about recently providing support to the US campaign against Iran. Gulf Arab states, which Iran has targeted repeatedly since the war began February 28, do not immediately respond to requests for comment Friday over the strikes. Israel, which took part in the Iran war, also has not claimed any recent attacks on Iran. Well, I'm glad that Israel did not take any parts of the attacks on the Iran. And also glad that I also glad that make the ceasefire, that negotiate with the ceasefire, but that doesn't mean that war is not over yet. It's just the beginning. Yeah. So it could attack the Iran again. But when? When is coming to attack Iran again? That's the question. Anyway, let's get to the next news. Buffering is Windows drive for Steam Machine. Buffering is Windows drive for Steam Machine console. letting end users replace the restart SteamOS with 64-bit Windows 10 or Windows 11. The graph pack is for Valve converters, refs, Wi-Fi to memory card reader. Since Steam Machine is based on semi-custom SoC, the company got along with AMD and not with the AMD Ryzen SKU, the crash drivers. It's for the same AMD software and trunk, which others know here. This Steam Machine does support dual booting between Windows SteamOS with Windows 8. We can install a stream application and use the big picture mode for experience with SteamOS. Yeah. Well, the SteamOS, and the Steam Machine. Too bad they didn't put GeForce ATX on the Steam Machine. But it is good that don't put GeForce ATX because I don't think Steam Machine needs ray tracing. But I think the Steam Machine needs I do believe Steam Machine needs AMD Ryzen. There's also Intel Core for Windows to upgrade the setup. I think AMD Ryzen is already not. Anyway, let's get to the final review. Elon Musk rents sellers to rival Anthrophic AI race. Elon Musk posted grades for Anthrophic on X and promised never to cut off the company's access to SpaceX and research at first glance. It seems just like another Silicon Valley rumor. However, for those right code, the story carries more relevant technical lessons. As well, there's no reviews how competing contracts and trust on the models used every day in this article. We go beyond the headline. This way, you understand Musk's gestures. Musk gestures just means for those who depend on LLM's reduction. Musk like turn around in heights a well-calculated financial move. In 2025, Musk stated that Trump will never win. Now, however, he acknowledged his mistake. I was clearly wrong about Anthrophic, who, furthermore, he called the company the current leader in AI. However, the Drake doesn't stand solid regulation. In May 2026, Anthrophic leads all the capacity of Class 1, a data center near Memphis. The security company over 300 megawatts and originally 220,000 NVIDIA GPUs in return. You'll pay US $1.25 billion per month until $29. Therefore, Anthrophic has become one of the space house big lions. In other words, cutting access would mean destroying a giant source of revenue. Thus Musk, I won't cut it off, because that's his own pocket first. Compute, but it's become currency, and that changed for the game for those right code. For years, discussing virtual around model right gets to this. Today, however, the bottleneck has shifted now. Was lacking power, ships, and cooling. Therefore, companies like SpaceX began selling computing power as a service. Google, the startup culture was late when it was set to a cost of SpaceX to somebody sell a cloud provider or a new cloud. The Matrix, new cloud, alongside AWS and Azure. For the fabric, the lesson straightforward. For the model you consume, depends on the casual physical supply chain and chain. Then these chains involve upgrades, energy, and geopolitical disputes. Therefore, Learning first layer, but it's no longer luxury but necessity. Desolation. The science technology wants server. Let's try against OpenAI and create technology usage for the formula. Desolation is for organic rates, fixed accounts, and set rapid survival. I'm teaching learn how the competitive model works. Most admit that the crisis is common. So AI companies destroy other AI companies. He said, furthermore, Anthrophic self accused the three Chinese manufacturers of taking Audi in this way. In February 26, for those building routers with amps, the one is clear. The for monitor and monster sage, purchasing your API. Similar app library limiting fake account detection and constantly telemetry. After all, a small model can become a target. One contractor safeguards them worth more than billionaires worth. Most of the good are good neighbors. So traffic doesn't rely somebody promise me on rhetoric. The government maintains contractual protections against any cell interruption. In other words, there are penalties if someone shuts down the service. However, one question remains open. By hosting his travel resource, space has to weaves leading into how traffic operates. That's the whole sees traffic patterns, speak and low behavior. Therefore, it is resumed down traffic and implement safeguards against undue observation. The lesson for your team is also radical. Therefore, when outsourcing critical infrastructure without loss, similarly, assess the provider can see a show trust without contract just hope. What chasing rights for the transport cargo on the law? The agreement is not prescribed. On the contrary, it likely affects those who use the platform. For example, on traffic topic, the user limit upload the code for paid ads. In addition, erase the API and show output models. In other words, the more compute means fewer. Try again later. Let's just thus. The developer gains larger windows and faster response. Consequently, existing workloads become more viable in production. However, reminder is in order. The contract allows for cancellation with 90 days notice. Therefore, the capacity is not warranted forever. Thus, rely on rigid SAA should constantly monitor the progress of the agreement. This such a matters as much as the model. In the end, the episode teaches something bigger. The Korean model is worthless without power. Ships and servers the nice frontier of AI involves data centers, contracts, and even orbit. In fact, ships and server studies. The trafficking in space offshore discuss virtual computing. With data centers in space. Within the developers, their message is clear. First, understand the physical machine behind each API call. Then, design your systems with vendor fault tolerance. Financial computing as social research lies economically. Unlike interest rates, whoever controls the controls the pace, and as well as just show if variables need each other to move forward. Well, I'm back here, and I'll abandon my traffic. Which is not that the data centers. Why put data centers in space? Taking through the information of the AI. Elon Musk doesn't care about what he's doing. He started to get insane. he started to get insane. Yeah, he started to get insane, and what? Elon Musk wants to. This is the thing. He wanted to put data centers in space with SpaceX. And what do you want to do about with all this? Maybe one. AI is coming. It's something bad. They say something bad. They say something bad, you know. And why they detect fake accounts? What about this? There's no such thing about detecting fake accounts. There's no such thing about fake accounts. They use fake accounts to know information about you. That's the problem. By the way, data centers are using AI to kill people. We saw in sci-fi movies this. But anyway, and the same machine can use AMD Ryzen on Windows, and the ceasefire can do. The ceasefire is over. Yeah, but that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to watch my content in the channel, guys, and check out my Grammy channel link down below. That's it. Goodbye. Love you all. See you guys next video.